Let's talk about something that makes a lot of people uncomfortable, and that something needs to be understood clearly. See, when a workplace scandal breaks, especially one involving power, the public almost always asks the same question: why was one person fired, but the other person wasn't? Okay. So in the Sharon Moore case, or Sherrone Moore case, I keep calling him Sharon, at the University of Michigan, that question has sparked a lot of outrage, confusion, and there's a lot of heated debate on this. But today we are not here to sensationalize this topic. We are here to pick sides emotionally. Okay, let me change that. We are not here to pick sides emotionally. And we are not here to reduce complex situations or whatever. We are here to understand how power works, how policy, how accountability actually works, and why Michigan's decision, whether you agree with it or not, follows a very specific, institutional logic. I'm actually waiting for some people to talk on this. A lot of people will be like, oh, this man has a type. Some will say, oh, they set him up. So, a lot of theories will come, but I want us to be clear and very factual on this. Okay. This man, for those people who are just coming in for the first time and watching my videos for the first time, you're welcome to stand in your power. And we're talking about Sherrone Moore, head football coach at the University of Michigan, who was fired on December 10th, 2025. What was the reason for him being fired? He had multi-year intimate relationship with a university staff member who was his executive assistant. Okay, she was in a low power position within the department. The relationship had reportedly been concealed for years, guys, years. After the relationship ended December 8th, the staff member disclosed to the university on December 10th, that's 2 days after the breakup. The same day, Moore was dismissed from, he was fired. Okay. And then the university later confirmed that the staff member remains employed. And that immediately raised public backlash. Like, people were asking, why wasn't she fired? Was it not a consensual relationship? Wasn't hiding the relationship dishonest? Why wasn't she fired? Why does one person face the consequences? Only one person will face the consequences. Some people were actually saying, oh, is it because he is black? All that, push it to the back. To answer that, we have to talk about policy. This is policy. Remove emotions from it. Totally. Let's look at the policy that changed everything. That policy is what we should be looking at. Remove emotions. Your emotions cannot help you in this situation. Okay? So Michigan's decision rests on university policy. Yeah, I think policy number 20197. And that policy was adopted in July 2021. Okay. The policy governs intimate relationships between supervisor and employee. And this should open your eyes. Whether you are a man or you're a woman watching this, you need to be familiar with the policy in your organization. You need to be familiar with the policy in your organization so you can know how you will move, how you go waka. So if this man really wanted to have an intimate relationship, he could have taken it outside. If, after looking at the policy, you'll be like, I can't try this. So let me take whoever I want to, if I want to cheat on my wife or I want to do something, let me do it outside. So I'm not encouraging that you cheat, but I'm saying to avoid stories that touch like this, you need to be familiar with the policies of wherever you are working in. Okay, so that policy governs intimate relationship between supervisors and employees. And the most important thing to understand is that the policy is not neutral about power. The policy places primary responsibility on the supervisor and not the employee. So that should answer to you, while the man, the supervisor is the one bearing the brunt. Here's what the policy says plainly: a supervisor must not initiate an intimate relationship with someone they supervise. Even if the supervisor did not initiate it, they are still required to disclose the relationship immediately. So you see why they took him off the job. So this disclosure allows the university to remove that power imbalance through a management plan. I have been talking since. Imbalance in relationship. You see, from Candiboros, where there was financial imbalance in the relationship, here now we are talking about power imbalance. Okay? So the policy further goes to say that if the supervisor fails to disclose the relationship, this is a ground for termination. Now, here's the part that surprises people. That part is that the employee has no obligation to disclose anything. Not because the employee is above accountability, but because the policy recognizes something that is very, very real. And we're going to talk about that now. Yeah, why is she being treated differently? Oh, is it because she's white? No. She's being treated differently because workplace power isn't theoretical. When you have power, when your supervisor uses his power against you, it affects paycheck. It affects your career if you have any. It affects your safety. So the policy explicitly acknowledges that the employee may fear. Why am I talking like this? I have created policies where in my former life, so I understand what this is, okay? The policy explicitly acknowledges that the employee may fear retaliation, which is very true. Oh, if I don't play ball, my supervisor may retaliate. He might make me lose my job. He might make the workplace very hostile. My career may be at risk. You know, all these power imbalances. And that is why that policy doesn't hold the employee, the subordinates. Okay? Now, forcing disclosure on the lower person, the person with the lower power, could make them even just completely silent. And that's why the policy says, although encouraged, supervisees, that's the person with the lower power, have no obligation to disclose. So there you go. The burden is placed where the power is. So in this case, the university concluded that the supervisor failed to disclose. Therefore, the supervisor violated the policy. The supervisor bore responsibility, and that is why Sherrone Moore was fired. He was fired because he was in violation to the policy, which I believe he knows about. Okay? So this case didn't exist in isolation. After the relationship ended, this man went to the woman's office, to the woman's apartment to confront her. That is retaliation. According to prosecutors, this resulted in arrests, criminal charges that included stalking, breaking and entering, and all those orishi things that we're talking about. Okay, so whether those charges are ultimately proven or not, they significantly change how the situation was viewed from an HR violation to a safety concern. You see, not only did he violate the HR policy, it even moved one step further now to safety concern. So at that point, the university's risk, their risk calculus shifted even more. Okay? If he did not go to the girl's house, that would have been a different thing entirely. But now that she has reported, you did not do the disclosure, then you now went to her house. It's now a safety issue that has even gone beyond the HR policy. Okay? So you might be saying, oh, why does this policy exist at all? Okay? They said the policy did not come out of nowhere, that the policy in that university was created after a 2020 scandal involving Michigan's former provost, Martin Philbert. Okay, a law firm investigation found out that Philbert had engaged in sexual relationship with subordinates and allegedly sexually harassed multiple members of the university community. Investigation concluded something, that was critical, that even consensual relationships become dangerous when the power is unequal. Okay, the university had no specific policy at the time, only a general nepotism rule. And what happened? That situation made them create this new policy that is on ground in the university today. And less than 5 years later, after it was enforced exactly as written, we are here. Now, let's be honest. A lot of people are still saying, oh, this is unfair. Even when a decision follows policy, the truth is, honestly, it can still feel emotionally unfair, because a lot of people struggle with why the fact that she concealed, why the concealment, the fact that she did not disclose on time when she was asked, why it didn't cost her a job. That's another place to look at. Why accountability looks one-sided. And people are asking why why is the public fallout, heavier on one person. Okay, these are all, in my opinion, valid emotional reactions. But we need to understand that institutions don't operate on emotions. They operate on risk, they operate on liability, and they operate on precedents. That university didn't say the situation was harmless. They said the responsibility wasn't equal. And that distinction is uncomfortable, right? But intentional. So that we can avoid issues like this. The bigger question that we are supposed to be asking in this time, the real issue, isn't only why was he fired and she wasn't. The deeper question is, how did a multi-year relationship exist in silence inside a major department? Okay? What failed? What oversight in that university failed? What culture in that university or in that department allowed the secrecy? These are the questions that we need to be asking. Why does accountability only appear after exposure? For me, the answer is policies don't prevent misconduct, but the culture that you build in the organization should prevent that. So for me, when I saw that they said they were going to dig deep, they were going to investigate deep into the department, I was like, yeah, that's good. That's good. You need to look at what's going on in the department. It might be something that everybody is doing in that department. It might be a culture. They say everybody is a thief, right? Everybody is stealing. But who gets caught is the one that is labeled a thief. So, and that's why I say the culture needs to be investigated. You need to look. I like the fact that they are investigating deep into the department to see. Okay? The story isn't about villains or victims. This story is a scandal, quite all right, but it's a lesson about power. It's a lesson about responsibility and institutional design. Okay? We also hear, I'm going to talk about that in another video, where, because she's his executive, her name is Paige, right? She's his executive assistant. Some people are saying she knew the wife, she was following the wife on social media, she was friends with the wife. And I'm like, that's another story for another day. So this story is all about power. I'm just focusing on the power, the responsibility, and the institutional design of it all. You don't have to agree with, the university's decision to do what they've done. But I'm doing this video so that you do need to understand why he was fired. Because I've watched a lot of videos online and they're like, why was he fired? Why was it? No. If there's one lesson here, it is this. When power is unequal, the responsibility is never equal. Okay? So push those emotions aside. Because whatever's happened right now is not politics. It is policy. Read my lips. Policy. And that's why I had to do this breakdown. If this breakdown helped you to understand the situation more clearly, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And as always, please stay informed, stay grounded, stay aware of how power operates around you. Stay aware of the implications of power around you, the policies around you, and how they affect you. With that being said, my name is Femi, and this is Stand in Your Power. Thank you for being here. If this video or this my explanation spoke to you, please do like, share, and subscribe to my channel and continue to stand in your power. Remember, knowledge is power. So always understand the policies wherever you find yourself so that you don't get yourself in hot mess. I'll see you in the next one. Love you guys. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Please do like, hype this video, share, and put up your notification bell so that whenever I drop any new videos, you will be the first to get notified. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Bye.